Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course, Corinne Lafont, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago on Between the Lines. And you may find that my voice is not as bubbly and as you know it. I'm trying to keep my voice toned in order to help me not to cough as much. Forgive me. I contracted this flu and cough. And you know, when something so wonderful hooks onto you, it doesn't want to leave you. I don't know why, but I'm going to try my best to get rid of it. Anyway, I always start my show off being thankful. I'm thankful to be here, cough or not. I'm thankful to still be alive and be able to appreciate everything the world has to offer and all the lessons that I'll be learning today. I'm just looking forward to all of that. And I'm thankful that my body is still operating as it should. So for me to get a flu, it means to say I'm good to go, right? And that I'm getting stronger. Always look at the positives of everything. We have today Sharifa Hadi. She's looking beautiful. I see she has a lot of positive influence around her. Yeah. And she's settled in herself. Let me tell you a bit about her. But before that, let me tell you what we're talking about. How to rebound from job loss, homelessness, and divorce. And you'll tell from her bio, which I'm going to read down, why we're talking about that. I can't imagine she's looking so beautiful. So she must struggle is doing her well. Let me tell you a bit about her. Sharifa Hadi is the CEO of xroadstv.com and inthenewspr.com. She is the founder of virtualnetworkingevent.com and co-founder of the Powered by Purpose store. She has been through a lot and still standing while she's sitting down. She has been laid off over 8 times, been divorced twice, homeless, and overcame it all. She built her first website in 1994. And as always, she always had a website presence in some form of fashion since then. She has hosted several radio shows. She's an online marketing specialist, influencer, and person on the rise. Welcome, Sharifa, to Between the Lines.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Corinne.
Yes, my apologies again for my voice and the way I sound.
No apologies necessary. We do what we do. We keep it moving and things happen. I'm just sending you lots of love and light and praying that you get well soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Keep sending the love. That will help get rid of the flu, yeah? And the
Yes,
cough.
ma'am.
Thank you. So, Sharifa, listen to me. You're looking beautiful. You're looking, I mean, what is that bio about? That's a total lie. You can't have been divorced twice, homeless, laid off 8 times. I mean, people are literally going out of their mind, pulling out every hair they have. If they get laid off once, they're not even married and they're not even homeless. So, can you explain to me why you're looking so fabulous and still standing or sitting?
Wow. Wow. Thank you. I think I'm going to enjoy your show. I've never been asked that question, and I've definitely never been asked that question that way. And I'm going to answer it in 2 different ways. Number one, you looking at me in 2019. I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm happy, life is good. Uh, just like my first book, it was from laid off to loving life. So I'm pretty sure when I was laid off, there were some days when I was looking like I was homeless. And it's funny that you say that because I used to have this joke because when I lost everything, I lost all my clothes and all my shoes as well. And I literally only had the clothes on my back. And that day, I just so happened to be wearing flip-flops. So when I lost all my heels and my boots and everything else because they were in the car that was repossessed, all I had to my name was flip-flops. So I made a joke that I'm rocking the homeless look. So that was me. Every day, no matter what, I will wear my flip-flops. And it's like, okay, and I make a joke out of it. The best thing in the world is to just be happy. And I tell people, oh, people in America don't know about the flip-flops. Over in Europe, over in Africa, they know. But in America, they don't know. So I would wear flip-flops with everything. And even to this day, I prefer my flip-flops. I'm nice. I'm comfortable. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I have a closet full of shoes. But the majority of the time, I will have on a pair of flip-flops. The second thing is, I went through a lot, and I'm pretty sure that I looked stressed out at that time. And I thank you for the compliment saying that I even look fabulous. But you go through it, and then you get through it. And so I went through all of it, and I tell people I went through all of it for someone else. I went through all of it so I can learn compassion and empathy, for people who were homeless. I never lived on the street, but I definitely lived in motels because I had nowhere else to go. So the only thing I cared about while I was living in the hotel was not, where it was or anything else, how big the bed was. What I cared about was that I had Wi-Fi. And that's been my thing. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I'm happy, I'm good, because I can focus on my business. I've done interviewed people while I was living in a homeless motel for, I've done a lot, but I just keep going. I've been divorced twice. It has nothing to do with how you look. It has to do with some of the choices and decisions that you make. The first time I got married, I was in my early 20s. Second time I got married, I was in my early 20s, as a matter of fact. And as you get older and wiser, you learn not to make some of the decisions that you made. You learn to take your time, and with the economy, I was never fired, but I was continuously laid off. Jobs relocated to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, relocated to other parts of California, laid off their entire staff, closed down completely, didn't receive their second round of funding. So it was just life. And the one lesson I tell people that I've learned, if nothing else, is that life goes on.
Listen to me. I really am impressed with what you're saying, because the key to it is life goes on. You don't give up. You keep going. And like you said, once you have Wi-Fi, you're good to go. And you're
Yes.
rocking those flip-flops. You made that couture. I mean, you
I
made
sure did. I sure did.
you made that couture, girl, and you are
I sure
diva in it. Hey, right? But I want you to
did.
take us back to what circumstances created that. What led you to being laid off, or what? I mean, like you said, it wasn't a matter that it's because you moved or you shifted or things happen. But in
No,
terms
I
of
didn't
being
move or
homeless,
shift.
okay,
No, I didn't move or shift. The companies moved and shifted.
okay,
The first time I was laid off, it was a complete surprise to me. The first time I was laid off was in 2001. And it was a company that when I started at this company, they were literally working out of a garage. They were working out of a garage, and they got investors. They moved from a garage into a high rise, bought a lot of furniture, expensive chairs, spent a lot of money, and then months later, everyone was laid off. And then they decided, okay, California is too expensive, and so they relocated the company to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We had the option to go to Florida, but in 2001, my children now are 22 and 25. In 2001, my children were young. I wasn't going to just uproot them and move to Fort Lauderdale, Florida for this company who had literally ran through all of this money. The other aspect of being laid off in 2001 was that was a position where I was making a significant amount of money. I was happy. I was good. I tell people that back then, my debit card from my bank, I called it magic, because I could go to the store, I could swipe, I could shop, I could buy, and I didn't even have to look at my account and say, okay, do I have enough? Because I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt I had enough. And so from going to having more than enough to now you no longer have a job, it was traumatizing, for lack of a better word. And then once you get laid off, what people didn't understand, especially in 2001, is that when you get fired, whether you admit it to anyone else in the world, when you get fired, you know in your heart of hearts, you did something wrong.
yeah,
When you quit a job, you normally do not quit a job unless you have something lined up. You may quit your job to be a housewife, quit your job to go back to school, quit your job to move across the country, quit your job to move, an hour away, quit your job because you have another job. But when you're laid off, you're doing everything right. The company is proud of you. I tell people, there were many times that I had perfect attendance awards. I've had Employee of the Month awards. So to go from 2 days ago, you were Employee of the Month, to now you no longer have a job, again, it's traumatizing. And the bill collectors, the landlords, they don't care that you were an
Mhm.
employee of them. What they
Mhm.
care about is the rent. And
Mhm.
so when, and then when you had a job where you're making a significant amount of money, and then you have two kids to raise, and now you just need anything, and you're like, I'll take that job, I don't care, it's $10 an hour. And your lifestyle that you have created doesn't afford you to be able to take a $10 an hour job. It's a lot of stress, it's a lot of pressure. And at some point, I wasn't even able to cover the rent, and that's why I lost my place. And a lot of things happened to where, again, I'm homeless, not able to afford my rent.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's how as a woman, I mean, going through the feelings of that, and
Mhm.
what about your support system? Did you have any support? Anybody that you could lean on, reach out to? How did you manage? You said you stayed in motels. You would have had to pay for that somehow. How did you manage with that? What about food? What about your kids? What about your
Well,
self-esteem? What?
you go there shocked. You're like, oh my God, what is going on? No, I didn't pay for it. The government paid for it. I had to get government assistance for them to come to pay for the hotels. So that when you go to the government, you ask them for assistance, they give you a hotel for 2 weeks in order for you to figure something out. And then if you haven't figured something out, they'll give you an additional 2 weeks to figure, look, figure this out, because they're not going to pay for it for the rest of your life. So that was the process. Through government assistance, I was able to at least eat, but I had to figure out an income. And I have a wonderful support system. But the thing that I learned looking back is that nobody really understood, even myself. We were all happy, everything was great, but we didn't think that it was going to last from 2001 to literally 2018, like these different layoffs. I would get a job, I was laid off. I worked for 6 months, I was laid off. I would be on unemployment for a year. It was always because the mentality. I've been working since I was about 11 years old. I worked for the company when I was 16 who built the irrigation system for the 105 freeway in Los Angeles. They did all the irrigation, everything for a freeway. I was the office manager, did all the payroll at 16. I had always been working. My family knew I would always work. So we all just had this, oh, you'll get another job. Like life goes on. It wasn't like you're going through this traumatic experience. It was, oh, you'll get another job, and that was really the way we dealt with it. And looking back, it's like, oh my God, you actually did go through a lot of different things. But in looking back, there's no point in time where I can just stop. People say to me all the time, Sharifa, how did you do it? And I'm like, okay, did I have a choice? Was it go through this, or we'll give, second option is $1 million, or you can win the lottery? There was no options. There was no plan B. This was life. You had to deal with life, keep going, keep looking for jobs, keep looking for income. Kids, who were like, Mom, we hungry. You
Mhm.
figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm listening to you, and one of the things, if I were a man, and
Mm-hmm.
a man is looking at you, he would say, or he may say, let me not just assume, he may say, you can't hold on a job. They may
Mm-hmm.
start to judge you, or another woman would look at you and say, you can't hold on a job.
Mm-hmm.
She could never stay in one job for long. And they start to put you in a certain category, like you're just not the type of woman to be with. I'm sure you probably went through that, or persons have said those things to you. What was your reaction to that? Because a lot of other women, and I'm sure probably men, but I find it happening more to women, I suppose. I don't have the statistics to prove that. That's just my observation. But for us women, what would you say to a woman who's going through this type of thing right now, where it's not really her fault, really, why she's not able to, one, get a job, two, hold on a job, three, take whatever she can get, you know, to try to make things meet, or do whatever she has to do to make things work. What would you say to a woman like that?
Well, I'm going to answer your question. First of all, you are amazing and definitely insightful, because that reason alone was the reason both of my marriages didn't work out.
Mm,
Not only did they look at it and say, you can't keep a job, I
mm,
didn't want a job to a certain extent. The
mm,
reason I built my first website in 1994 is because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to work from home. I wanted to, when my daughter, who's my eldest, took her first little steps, I wanted to be there to see that. I didn't want her to be in daycare. I didn't want to be one of those moms, not that it's a bad thing or I'm knocking it, but to have someone else raise my child. I wanted to just be at home. And even in 1994, I had a website when most people didn't even have computers in their home. In 1994, I had absolutely no idea how far ahead of my time I was. I just knew this baby was cute. This was my baby. This was my life. This was my world. And I wanted to be at home with her. And at that time, some family members called me lazy because it wasn't because of the amount of money I was able to generate at the time. It was because back in those days, if you didn't leave the house, if you didn't work 9 to 5, you were lazy. Period. There was no discussion. Now in 2019, more people look at it the opposite. They're like, "Oh, you go to work." More like we work from home.
Sharif, I have to laugh. And the reason why you say I'm insightful is because I have that experience. I had it and I know about it. And I can totally relate. You want to be there for your children. You don't want anybody raising them. Even if you start off working, you know what working is like, the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4, whatever it may be. But from the time you start having kids and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not there enough for them. I need to be there. You say, no, I need to really give up this. And especially if you have a partner who is really bringing in more money than you, and you've made a decision, look, it makes sense for you as a woman, the mother, the wife or whatever, to stay with the kids. But after a while, they start jumping at your throat. Like you're lazy. You can't do anything. You're not looking at a job. You're not. I don't know if it's because the pressure is on them. I don't know why the pressure would be on, because nothing has really changed. It should actually be easier. I'm saving you a lot of money. You're not sending to daycare. I'm here. I'm making sure that everything is good. So I really don't understand the thinking. But I know what it feels like. And this is why I could totally relate to what you're going through. But boy, the resilience, I want to understand from you, this sort of resilience, this sort of mindset.
I tell you, it's that passion, it's the anger. I told people, because of everything that I'm going through, I said, I am going to be a household name. That's how I'm going to fix all of this, because I try to tell people, look, let's work together. Let's, let me build this company. Let me build this business, and I will be a household name, and then we could retire and reap the benefits. And they're like, no, you're lazy. You're not going to look for a job, and they're mad. But I was determined, and I want certain people, especially those ex-husbands, to turn on the TV one day and say, is that Sharifa? That's Sharifa. And that's the feeling that kept driving me, because I said, I didn't lose everything for nothing. I didn't go through all of this for nothing. And that was my prayer, even going through it. I would always say, Lord, I know you didn't bring me this far, only to bring me this far. So I knew that the future was just going to be so much better if I just kept going. And that's what I did. I kept believing, and I knew. And I would look at different business owners, and I would say, what makes them smarter than me? What makes them better than me? What makes it where they can own their own business, but I can't? And I knew it wasn't intelligence. It was the amount of money. Even when you look at Donald Trump, and I'm not going to talk about him as a political aspect, but if you look at Donald Trump's father is the one who initially loaned him the money to go into business. And so that's what I try to do now with business owners, is to help them create generational wealth. That's my focus. I do this for my children who are now older, adults, and the grandkids that will come, is so that when they get to a point and they want to build a business, or they want to go to college, grandma got you. You know what I mean? Your college is paid for. I just need you to figure out what career you want to do. And that's what we need to focus on, is to create generational wealth, so that we have something when we want to start something.
I'll tell you, that is the key to building wealth, generational wealth. I've noticed that within the Black race, we don't put it forward as much, if any, and we are very attacking of one another. It's like, I must have it, but you mustn't. In the Asian community, they're more network, they're more together. They work together because they realize, and the Syrian community, they realize that by working together, everybody's going to benefit.
Well, let me
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and this is one of my favorite topics. And I have this discussion on a lot of different interviews, and I always say people really don't want to have that discussion with me because I agree with you, and I agree with you to a certain extent. The
Yeah.
Asian community works together wonderfully. The
Yeah.
Hispanic community works together wonderfully. The every other race, the
Yeah.
Caucasians, white, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call them, they work
Yeah.
together wonderfully. But if you look at that whole circle, the African American is the only one that when we tried to work together, they literally killed us.
Yeah.
So what's in our DNA is that no. If I work with Corinne, so I'm gonna die. That's what
Yeah.
I'm holding on.
Yeah.
When we built the Black Wall Street, what
Mm.
happened? They burned it down.
Mm.
So we're like, okay, why every time I'm just going to stop because every time I try, either I die or they burn it down. And so people tend to forget what runs in our DNA. The Asians didn't have that problem. Who burned their stuff down when they tried to succeed? The Hispanics didn't have that problem. All they want to do is get to America, but nobody went there and burned everything down every time they tried to build a business. They can build whatever it is that they want to build. Every other culture has not gone through with businesses and finances and the power, the things that we have gone through. So this is one of my favorite topics because I want people to understand what we have to do is get that message that if I try, I will die out of our thinking and out of our DNA. Once we do that, we're able to be successful. And I would say, girl, I got you. What you need? You my sister. Let me help you because I want for my sister what I want for myself. We just have to look at it different. And once we all look at it different, we'll operate different.
We need to look out for each other. What I find is an inside job. It's not necessarily an outside job for the Black community. We kill our own selves, and we need to change that because we need to observe what's happening in the other communities, in the other races. And it's not that it may not happen in the other races, because what we see is, people working together, but there may be infighting within their race as well. But they keep it on the down low. They keep it on the down low.
That's the same conversation. I mean, again, when people say black on black crime and that we kill each other, for my favorite channel is Investigation Discovery, the ID channel. I love me some ID channel because I don't like fiction. I like real life. I love to watch stories. I love that I have that detective mind. I love to figure out who done it before they did because I can look at it and say, oh, I know that was Billy Bob. I know it was. But in the majority, 9 out of 10 shows that I watch are not African Americans killing each other. It's other races. But when the Black people do it, that's the ones I tune into because I'm like, oh, what happened? Because for the Black person to go do that, something happened. But the majority of the people are not African American.
Yeah.
But what happens is we don't call it white on white crime. It's just crime.
It's just crime. Yeah. It doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a color. Yeah.
But when
crime is crime.
we have a color because people want to show us at our worst. We have to be able to look and say there are look at the Emmys, look at the Oscars. We have literally just everywhere. When I watched the Emmys even last year, everything was about diversity. If you watch a commercial in 2019, you'll see, I think it's IKEA, Lowe's, Cheerios. The majority of the commercials that are coming out right now they have biracial couples, but then also there's a statement in Hollywood. If you watch every commercial now, it's multiracial. They want it to be multiracial because that's what represents people. A long time ago, you didn't see Black people on TV. You didn't see Hispanic people on TV. You didn't see Asian people on TV. But they realized, I mean, we talk about Black people. Let's look at how far we come. Black Panther, the movie Black Panther set records. It set box office records. And when you set a box office records, the powers don't care what your color is because all they see is green. That's what they see.
That's the only color they know, green. They don't know black, white, Chinese.
Exactly. And so we focus on the color. We focus on, okay, well, what is this Black person? No, how are you making money? And that's what I do. That's what my focus is helping business owners, actually helping entrepreneurs become business owners and helping business owners succeed. That's what I do. I monetize. I have the gift of gab and the gift of monetization. I don't help you because you're a sister. I help you because you're an entrepreneur, because you're a business owner. What can I do to help my sister out? And if you were a Caucasian lady staring at me right now, I would say, what can I do to help my sister out?
Yeah, it's not a matter of color, because it doesn't matter what, we came in here the same way and we're going back out the same way. There's no special way for any particular person.
Yes.
Death, disease, it takes everybody. It doesn't discriminate with color. It doesn't matter where you're born, your background, it doesn't matter. So people need to really get over themselves, really.
Yes.
It's 2019. And I love coming back to us. And I mean, it's all tied together. The resilience, the power, the tenacity, the perseverance that you need, the why. Your children was your why at the time. You had to do something. And there are people, they have to know what their why is. Their why could be, I got to prove to these men who kicked me to the curb. I need to prove to my children. I need to prove to myself, that I can make it. Because what's the other alternative? Throw up my hands and give up? Give people a reason to say, see it? She wasn't worth anything anyway. What's the alternative? Which one? Which one do you choose?
I had a lady ask me that on one of the interviews. She said, Sharifa, I just don't believe that you didn't just lay down. And she was in shock. And the question I asked her, I said, okay, but I hear you're saying, why didn't you just lay down? Really? But let's think this through. If I would just, right now, I'm here, and I would just stand up, walk around this desk, and lay down on the floor, what would happen? Absolutely nothing. At some point, I would still have to get up. I would still have to go on. I would still have to do the work. It's not like laying down is even an option. If it was,
it's not an option.
Bring me something, then I'd be laying down on this floor right now. But
lying down is an option, but a temporary option. You may lie down, look up in the sky, pray, meditate, ask for assistance, whatever. But you have to get back up at some point. So you can't lay down all the days of your life. You may decide, God, this is too overwhelming for me. I need a break. Let me lie down. Let me just take a breather here, to get myself together. So there will be breaks between where you're going to lie down. Yeah, you're going to say, I can't do this right now. God help me. And you reach out for strength, but you really have to, I think you reach a point where it's like you get vexed. It's like you really get annoyed. You get a certain madness within you. It's like, damn it, something has to happen here. Something has to happen. You go through an emotional roller coaster until you reach the point of you're going mad, and mad in terms of anger and mad in terms of the whole mental aspect of it. I have to do something, Wow.
I agree.
Twice divorced. Tell us about that. You got married first time and then you jump back in again with your crazy self and then get divorced again.
That's exactly what I did. I jumped back in. I jumped right back in. Each marriage lasted 2 years.
Oh my God.
Because I just didn't take the time. And as as you get older, you learn you have to take the time. You have to get to I know my first husband since I was 14 years old, grew up with his whole family. So I knew his family, but I didn't know him as a husband. So we got divorced, and immediately at work, I met another guy. We were dating, got married. 2 years later, that was over. And each time I was the one who left. I always tell people I don't do come hell or high water. It's just not me. Because I believe if there's hell and high water, that's a sign. God is like, it's time to go. It should be peace. It should be harmony. It should not be lying. It should not be cheating. It should not be all these different things. We are supposed to be on the same team. We are supposed to be on one accord. My ex-husband, my second husband, used to hate all the time. His biggest pet peeve, because I would always say, do what makes you happy. And he would say, well, when you say that, that seems like you don't care. I'm saying it's not that I don't care, but if you're doing what makes you happy as your wife, what makes you happy should make me happy. We should both be happy. It's only a problem when what you're doing to be happy makes me unhappy. And I don't stay in situations that make me unhappy.
Yeah, it comes right back to you, and everybody must be themselves. And you see, it comes back to being whole. A lot of people are looking for the other half to complete them, but you're supposed to be whole. It's supposed to be two whole people coming together, not two halves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Crazy. What would be your advice to persons now after going through all what you have been through? Give us about 3 tips to persons right now that can uplift them, that can let them know that it's possible. Your life can be better than what you know it to be now or then. What are some tips that you can give? And what I want to do is switch over to your website to be able to highlight the things that you're doing. If you have any giveaways, if anything that you want to share. But I want you to be able to share with, with those who may be listening and those who will be listening.
That was supposed to be all.
That's fine. That's fine. And those who will be listening, what are some tips that you can give them to let them know that don't give up? I'm watching the sign behind you and it says keep going. It gets better. When you want to stop, go farther. Work it out. Train the what? Train the something. Train the raw. Is it the rain? Something?
Train the pain.
Train the pain.
You gotta train it. You have to go through it. Let me give you the tips. These are my tips, and I like to keep things simple. Number 1, pray. Always pray. Before I do anything, I pray and I ask the Lord, this is what I want. Is this your will for me? And if it's God's will, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So that's number 1. I always pray before I do anything. Number 2, really truly believe that you can do it. You can have your heart's desire. And if you're in a situation where you don't have your heart's desire, then don't stay in that situation. I'm not an advocate of divorce. I'm not an advocate of breaking up homes, but people stay in situations that they don't want to be in for so many different reasons. You have to let go and move forward and really trust that you can have your heart's desire. Number 3, this is one of the things that I always, really just kind of let people know is that life goes on. It does. In time, this too shall pass. I mean, half of the things that we talking about, the layoffs, the divorces, the homelessness, I remember them, but I don't remember them. I'm not emotionally connected to them. I'm not still there. I'm not still that person. I'm completely unaffected by it. Mm-hmm. And so during that time, I could have been very emotional. It could have been, one of the most devastating times. But if you keep going and you understand that in time, this too shall pass, you'll keep walking, you'll keep going. And the things that we cry about today, the things that virtually almost kill us today, 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, definitely 30 years from now, 40 years from now, we won't even be able to remember.
Yeah. And when you look back, you're like, wait a minute, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. It's another day. When I was going through my hardships, and I mean, we all go through different hardships. You're like, hold on, I'm seeing another morning. It's morning. I'm so thankful. It's night. I'm so thankful. It's another day. I'm so thankful. These are the things that you have. These are the things you have to say to yourself, as each moment passes, that you're so thankful.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome, those 3 tips. Just keep praying. I mean, I believe in God. Some people may say the universe, source, a higher being, whatever it may be. Doesn't matter to me what you want to call him, her, it doesn't matter to me. But be able to know that there's a higher being that exists in the world that you can call on for strength. It's not your own strength. All the inspiration, ideas, everything that you have, everything that's happening for you, around you, with you, by you, is not because of you.
Absolutely.
It's not because of you. And the thing about it, like you said, you have to go through to get to where you want to go. And once you don't stop there, in the midst of it, you are going to get through and see the light. Once you keep that vision in your mind. This is awesome. This is awesome. I want to switch over to your website. Let me grab a page here. 1 second. Let me see if I could grab a page. Tell me your website again, Sharifa.
AskSharifa.com.
Sharifa.com, that's it?
Yes, AskSharifa.com.
Oh, no, I didn't put the ask in front. Hold on. Mm-hmm. It's bringing up the page. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to just share that. Here we go. That's you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. There you are. So how can we get to know Sharifa a bit more? So persons can get to the contact us page. Is there anything that you're giving away? And any books? You're mentioning books before. How can persons get a copy of your book?
Yes, my book right under there. If you take a look below your picture, it says sign. You going down too far. Signs. You right there. Signs. You might be an
Oh,
entrepreneur. Yeah, that's my book. Signs. You might be an entrepreneur. How to discover the entrepreneur in you.
mm-hmm. Beautiful. Let me just click on it. And it takes you straight to Amazon.
Amazon. Yes.
Beautiful. Let me just get back. Right. And if they were to contact you,
Mm-hmm.
they go here. Do you have any free giveaways or anything that persons can sign up for?
If we go back to the homepage, I actually do. I do, and we scroll down, well, just right here, 2 options to choose from. I interview via video or I interview via podcast. And so the podcast interview is free. It's a 1-hour podcast interview. I do them Mondays at 8 a.m. And so if any business owner, entrepreneur wants to be interviewed by Ask Sharifa, Mondays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, they can be a guest and they can talk about their business. And so that's completely free. The other option is my video interviews. If people are interested in a recorded video interview that I do on Facebook Live, and I take questions from people about what they're doing. So they have 2 options, the video or the podcast interview, but the podcast interview is completely free.
Okay. And where can we find your services, what you're offering in your business so that persons can access that?
You can't find it, huh?
No.
That's because I help people. It's not a service that I offer. I don't do consulting. I used to do all of that. What I do is I give business owners a platform. I give them an opportunity. I'm not trying to sell them anything or sit down with them for hours to consult. That's not who I am. What I do is I'm a host. I host my interview show. I host my podcast. I do have my In the News PR, which is my PR company for people who want to brand themselves and people want to market themselves. I'll get interviews for them, radio interviews. That's what I do with In the News PR, get them out there. But as far as consulting, I don't really consult anymore. I do more interviews for people to give them the information.
You are empowering persons. This is what you're doing, giving them the tools, the resources to be able to get out there because you know where you have been.
Yes.
You know where you have been and you know where you are now. And can you imagine 2019, you're looking so beautiful. I can imagine in the next 5 to 10 years, you need to get back on my show. And let me see how much more beautiful you get because of sharing. It's a wonderful thing when you share and you help others, the beauty comes out in you. Eh?
Well, thank you. Let's go ahead and schedule it for the future because I have so much going on. I mean, I just keep adding and changing it and growing. So we definitely want to do that. And then we'll have you as a guest on my show. And we'll talk about some of the things you're doing. And I'll, again, share your expertise and share your opportunity, which is the interview with my viewers.
Very good. We can do that. So that's a date. That's a date. That's a date. But this is awesome. I'm so happy to have you on my show, Sharifa. Honestly,
thank you.
A wonderful, beautiful Black woman, young, been there, done that. I think that's why we should have named the show. Been there, done that.
Yes.
Been
yes,
there,
I like that.
Yeah, been there, done that, and nothing could put fear into you because after going through what you have done, there's nothing to fear.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nothing to fear. There's nothing to even frighten you to say a man come to you now and try to sweet talk you. You're like, excuse me, really? No.
Yes. but the beautiful thing is the guy I'm not married, but the guy I'm with now, I've been with for 11 years. So if you keep going, you'll get to the point where you will find that person that you would rather be with than without.
Yeah. And it just takes time. Be patient.
Yes.
And I think, and I didn't get to mention that or say that to you in the show. You would have had to have a lot of patience because you didn't know when things would have turned around. You had no timeline. You had no nothing. You just kept going, but you had no idea when things would turn around for you. And that is the torturous aspect of patience and waiting. You just don't know when. But in the
You
meantime,
don't know when,
yeah,
but I'm a spiritual person, and I read a lot of scripture. And if you look at scripture, the most consistent thing in scripture from all the prophets was that one word. They knew what God had told them. They knew what he said would happen, but
yeah,
they didn't know when. So they would always cry out, "When, Lord? How long, Lord?" Because
yeah,
they knew it would come through. So that was my whole thing, is that I knew, but one thing that we as mere humans have to understand is God operates on his time,
yeah,
not on ours.
more time, yeah. When, Lord? How long, Lord? That's a great way to end the show because that's exactly all of us are asking. When, Lord? How long, Lord? But in the
Mhm.
meantime, we keep pushing,
Yes,
going because it's going to get better. Thank you so
absolutely.
much. Thank you so much, Sharifa, for being on Between the Lines and sharing your golden nuggets. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for allowing me to share.